The Bears announced they're moving forward with plans to build a new stadium in Indiana. It may not be a done deal, but the news was the equivalent of a magnitude 9 earthquake. Everyone is weighing in. Let's get to the point.
From Chicago's very own, with WGN political editor Tahman Bradley, this is The Point.
Good evening. Glad to be with you on a Friday night. It was around lunchtime today when the Chicago Bears dropped the bombshell. In a statement, George McCaskey, the chairman, and President Kevin Warren announced the Bears board of directors voted to advance their stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana. Though they added the exact site is still to be determined. They say the project will transform the region. Illinois officials stressed there are no shovels in the ground just yet. This might not be over. A spokesperson for Governor J.B. Pritzker said in a statement, the Bears have built a storied legacy in Illinois for over 100 years, but have spent the last 6 years, especially the last few months, shifting their position on a stadium location. That has hindered their progress. And from Mayor Johnson's office, over the last several years, the Bears have stated their intentions in multiple jurisdictions. Today's announcement is not surprising. So now what? If Illinois officials aren't ready to give up, what's the path forward? Earlier tonight, we talked to State Senator Robert Peters. Senator Peters, your colleague Cam Buckner over in the House said that he talked to Kevin Warren and he committed to him that conversations would continue on a stadium in Illinois. Do you believe that?
I mean, I think when it comes to the Bears, this has been a thing that they generally do. They go back and forth and options are always on the table, and they have a history of making a lot of statements. So I would not be surprised if we're going to continue to have conversations about whether we're going to keep the team in Illinois or not. This is just yet another example in which the Bears have decided to play a media game around options, whether it's Arlington Heights, Chicago, or Indiana. And so my guess is we're going to continue to have this conversation. We're going to continue to see this engagement on social media, and we'll continue to see this drama play out.
What's the appetite like in the Senate for helping the Bears? You obviously at the 11th hour passed that legislation that would help the Bears either pick between Arlington Heights and Chicago. They would compete using local sports facilities authorities. Is that the best you could do? Is that the plan going forward?
I mean, that was the best we could do in that moment. And I would push back that on the 11th hour. It's important to remember the Bears went out of their way to spend $200 million in 2021 on a property in Arlington Heights. They demolished buildings on that property. They engaged in this back and forth. And so we're at roughly 5 years of the Bears playing games around a stadium, unsuccessfully so, playing games around a stadium. And so they now have decided to create this situation where there's massive competition, suburb versus city, state versus state, Chicago versus Indiana, just literally governor versus mayor, legislators against each other. At the end of the day, the DNA of our problem really comes down to the McCaskeys. And my one thing that I would ask the McCaskeys to do is that they've seemed to have figured out how to put a team on the field to win football games. They need to put the team together to make sure we can figure out the stadium situation.
What impact did the Bears' secret talks with the city of Chicago as recently as April have on getting legislation passed in Springfield?
I think it was just one of many things. The Bears have a long history of being inconsistent in this topic. Again, we go back to 2021 when they bought land in Arlington Heights. They are a do first, think later situation. And they need to sit down, take it easy, work with people to come up with an actual plan. Passed a bill at the 11th hour, right? That's what people would say. But I say that was a lot of work with a lot of conversations. It was the appetite for people. To be honest with you, it's similar to Indiana. The difference is Indiana is a state that promises that they're going to be the best state for people's taxes. Instead, if you're Northwest Indiana now, you're going to be asked to pay billions of dollars in taxes to be able to fund the stadium in order to back the bonds that they need for a stadium authority. That goes against the messaging and the narrative that I see for the state next door. And so my belief is that there's two parts here. Conversations are going to be ongoing, and no matter what, we have Soldier Field. And Soldier Field and the museum campus is our front yard, and we need to make sure we take care of it. So I would hope the Bears stay there. If they don't, no matter what, we have this amazing publicly owned entertainment venue. We have this amazing publicly owned front yard. Let's make sure that we take care of it instead of playing these games that the McCaskies are playing, trying to pit people against each other.
What was your reaction this morning when you saw the Bears statement?
It's very on brand for the Bears to issue a statement about something they may be doing sometime in the near future.
Senator Peters, thank you for your time.
Of course, thank you.
The celebration is on tonight in Indiana. The mayor of Hammond saying his city is an excellent choice for the Bears' new stadium. Indiana committed $1 billion in taxpayer support. Marc Ganis is a sports business expert who jumped on Zoom for us earlier. Marc Ganis, thanks for your time. At the end of the day, this is a business decision, right? And so Hammond, it's the best offer on the table, maybe the only offer on the table.
Well, it's the latter point that's the most important. It's the only offer that's on the table. The Bears were trying to develop for quite a while an option in Chicago, then, of course, Arlington Heights. The state legislature decided not to move forward with any of the plans for Arlington Heights. And so this left the Bears with only one option to pursue.
If Indiana is willing to finance building the stadium, how can Illinois compete if it's not?
Illinois had, maybe still has for a few weeks, but had the inside track. The Arlington Heights site is the best site. It has been from the beginning. It is, and so that's why the Bears paid over $200 million to buy it a few years ago. So if there was a viable plan in Arlington Heights, and the Bears were not looking for any money to help pay for the cost of the stadium in Arlington Heights, all they were looking for is infrastructure improvements as far as money is concerned and to deal with the property tax issues. That would have been where the Bears would have gone, from whether it was in the mega projects bill or in the Senator Cunningham bill at the end of just creating a sports authority. The Bears would be focused on Arlington Heights right now, but the legislature chose not to do either of those deals.
When it comes to these stadium projects, does the NFL really care about the history and the look? The drone shot from above, that it's the city skyline. In other words, is the NFL okay with the Bears playing in Hammond?
The NFL will be more than fine with the Bears playing in Hammond. It's only 20 miles from downtown Chicago. The blimp shot showing the skyline of Chicago will still be there. Arlington Heights was 35 miles away, so the blimp might have had to use its telephoto lens a little bit more. But this skyline of Chicago will still be there. It's still the Chicago Bears, arguably the strongest, most resilient fan base of any team in the United States, maybe globally for that matter. That's how powerful the Bears fan base is here in Chicago and around the world. Most people see the games on television. Most people interact with the team 12 months a year, primarily through digital means. So those won't change at all. Still the Chicago Bears. It'll still be Caleb Williams taking the snaps. It'll still be Coach Johnson on the sidelines. It'll still be the vision of Walter Payton and Dick Butkus. And what's great about it is there's still going to be 3 years in Soldier Field. If people want to be nostalgic about that, they will have that as well.
Marc Ganis, thank you.
My pleasure.
Back to Springfield. We'll see if there's political fallout in the November elections. No politician wants to be tagged as the person who lost the Bears. Republican candidate for Governor Darren Bailey says he wants to meet with team leadership to see if he can broker a deal. We talked earlier today. Let me ask you this, because Indiana is offering $1 billion in taxpayer money to entice the Bears to do this. Do you support that? I mean, it's a Republican-controlled legislature in Indiana. They're giving away $1 billion in taxpayer money. As a Republican, do you support that?
We've been giving that kind of money away for a long time. I mean, why did JB Pritzker come out and
who did we give that?
Offer a freeze on these data centers, these tax breaks? So let's consider and talk about. Nobody wants to go back and look at the past and consider how we got here. Indiana's got a healthy situation. They've got a surplus in their budget. You go over there, it's a completely different story with their roads and their infrastructure because they think ahead. But
is that the best use of a surplus, giving $1 billion sports franchise?
We'll know when we lose. We'll know if we lose them. We will know if we lose them because that is going to create a huge financial impact to Illinois. It's going to increase the burden on the taxpayers. So again, Indiana can do what Indiana wants to do. It is a shame that Illinois is not in the position to be able to counteroffer. And I hope there's
your position is Pritzker should do it. Your position is Pritzker should do whatever it takes.
No, he should have managed our money better. He is caught by a rock and a hard spot because we're broke. Illinois is broke, and people's pockets, they don't want to be pilfered anymore, and that is the only place for this money to come from. Over the last 6 years, the opportunities that this man had to manage the COVID funds that were coming in, he squandered them, he wasted them. And we know that because we have nothing to offer. It is that simple. Now, the Bears, and when I go and buy equipment for the farm, when I go buy seed and I'm not getting the kind of deal that I think that I can get and that I want, sometimes I get up and I walk away from the table. And I pray that that is the strategy that the McCaskies are using, that there's still an opportunity. But we have got to have smarter people than J.B. Pritzker sitting at the table trying to negotiate this. It just isn't working, and it hasn't been working for the people of Illinois.
We're back in 60 seconds. Tonight, a tip of the hat to Indiana Governor Mike Braun. It's his day. He welcomed the Bears to his state, promising a partnership as strong as the 85 team's defense. The state came out of nowhere to emerge as the last man standing, and at this point, it would take a Caleb Williams-style comeback to get Illinois back in the game. And that is the point. I'm Tahman Bradley. We'll have coming up on Monday the CTU's candidate for school board president, Hilario Dominguez. There's more news coming up tonight at 9. The Forecasters is next on WGN+. Good night.